Hello, this is Julie Mansell Ministries, and we are looking at different types of covenant. And this one that we're going to look at today is the Noahic Covenant, or the covenant that God gave to Noah. Now, this covenant is a grant covenant, and remember we talked about the grant covenant is a covenant given by a stronger party to a weaker party, and it's totally a blessing. The weaker party doesn't have to do anything to maintain the covenant. It's totally provided for by the stronger party, which in this case is God. So we've got the story of Noah. We're not going to go into the story in too much detail, but I just want to show a few of the scriptures that we can have a look at there. So one of the interesting things is we always sing the song with the children that Noah went into the ark 2 by 2. The animals went in with Noah 2 by 2, but he actually took in 7 pairs of clean animals and just 1 pair of unclean animals. So it was a pretty crowded boat, I'm sure, with all those animals that were taken in, and they were in there for some substantial time. My mind always goes to the logistics and the practical things of having so many animals in a confined space. But nevertheless, we had 7 pairs of clean animals and 1 pair of unclean animals. So in the ark, eventually God opens up the ark and they come out, and he says to Noah and his sons, "Go out from the ark, you and your wife, your sons and your sons' wives with you." And that's also a very interesting comment, because when they went into the ark, he went in and he was commanded to go in, Noah and his sons, his wife and his sons. So it was the men went in first and the ladies followed on behind. But when we come out of the ark, God pairs them up, Noah and his wife, his sons and his wife. So that's an interesting concept. God has put man and woman back into a position of equality at that point coming out of the ark. So this grant covenant that God makes with Noah, so this is in the back end of chapter 8 of Genesis and verse 20. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord and took some of every clean animal. Every clean animal. That was quite a lot of animals that got sacrificed, and some of every clean bird. So we've got 7 pairs going in of all the clean animals, and he took some of every clean animal and some of every clean bird. So that's a big sacrifice, and offered them as burnt offerings on the altar. It's always interesting that we've got burnt offerings on the altar, but we haven't got the temple instructions that come a bit later on in Leviticus. So there was obviously the sacrifice. Noah knew about sacrificing and things like that. So God smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intention of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease." So he's setting in motion there the grant covenant with Noah, and he's saying that he's not going to curse the ground, and he's saying that seed time, harvest, wet, cold, heat, summer, winter, day, night will go on forever. So just think about that. They're going to go on forever. Not going to get destroyed at the end of the age. They're going to go on forever. God has said that in his covenant with Noah. And he blessed them, told them to be fruitful, fill the earth. And then he also put fear of them on the animals. Prior to that, the animals were not afraid of people, but from this point forward they were. And he gives them the green plants to eat, and he gives them meat to eat at this point as well. But he tells them in verse 4 of chapter 9, You shall not eat flesh with life, its life, that is its blood. So he's telling them to drain the blood out of the animals before they eat them, which is kind of what we do. When we kill an animal, slaughter it, we drain its blood. And he is requiring a reckoning for if anybody kills another man, that there would be a reckoning. Whoever sheds the blood of a man, by a man shall his own blood be shed, for God made man in his own image. So he's reminding them again that he's created them in his image. So this is a grant covenant. Noah doesn't have to do anything for this covenant to come to pass. God just says, this is what I am going to do. And he puts the sign of the covenant in the sky, which is the rainbow. 7 colours of the rainbow, 7 pairs of clean animals. 7 is the number of completion. So every time we see a rainbow in the sky, we're reminded of the covenant, the grant covenant that God made with Noah.